Hi, my name is Saint Sukie de la Croix, and I will be reading from Twilight Manors in Palm Springs, The Strange Case of Donna Reed's Missing Wig. It's the second in the Twilight Manors series. Stephen Dobson and Brian McCartney had relocated from Chicago to Palm Springs a few months earlier. They moved into a gated community for seniors called Puesta del Sol, known locally as Twilight Manors. Moving from fast-paced Chicago with its drive-by shootings and ball-freezing winters, and then adjusting to the laid-back California lifestyle had been fraught with problems. Stephen and Brian were not the laid-back types. In fact, they were the opposite. They were the storm in a teacup type. They were the big fuss about nothing type. In fact, they couldn't attend an ice cream social without it turning into a food fight or a bloodbath. Brian had once slapped the mayor's wife in the face with a hymnal in Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. Stephen fed bananas through a glory hole to their lascivious neighbor. And then there was the murdered nun they found in a thrift store. Palm Springs is heaven on earth. It's a great place to live, but an even better place to die. On warm summer evenings, when there's a cool breeze, all that can be heard is the flapping of rainbow flags, the clinking of cocktail glasses, and the squeaking of knees waiting to be replaced. Even the straight people in Palm Springs are a shade of lavender, the men bearded, tattooed, and a tad limp-wristed, the women sporting lesbian hair and golf shoes. Palm Springs Airport is like a black hole in space. Every plane that lands there enters a vortex of gay serenity. When a plane lands at Palm Springs Airport, life itself shudders to a halt, and passengers disembark into a paradise of peace and quiet, sunshine, and a sea of seniors thumbing through beaten-up copies of People magazine and God's Waiting Room. Chicago is so cold it can freeze your heart. Palm Springs can thaw out and make an appointment for coronary artery bypass surgery in the blink of an eye. Brian tightened the tie around his neck. He wasn't a tie person, more the Hawaiian shirt kind of person. In fact, he collected them, much to Stephen's chagrin. Stephen hated them. Even when Brian was teaching history at the University of Chicago, he never wore a tie. He only had 2 ties in his closet, both black, and worn only for funerals and weddings. Of course, there are a lot of funerals in Palm Springs where death is as common as outbreaks of syphilis. They had already lost Larry, a nonagenarian neighbor with an abundance of genitals who was buried in his favorite knockoff Oscar de la Renta green polka dot bikini. But Stephen and Brian were particularly saddened by the latest friend to pass away and by the method of his passing. Yet again, death had cast a shadow over Twilight Manors, the gated community that Stephen and Brian now called home. I still can't believe it. Stephen plucked a white hair from the sleeve of his jacket. It was a terrible way to go, and such a surprise. Graham Cartwright had been their neighbor since the couple moved to Palm Springs. He lived next door, and every morning Brian and Stephen had fed him bananas through a glory hole in the fence that separated their 2 houses. It's a long story. Don't ask. A massive heart attack brought on by... Brian couldn't bring himself to finish the sentence. He felt a lump in his throat. It was too terrible to think about. I mean, what did Graham think he was doing? Oh, he knew what he was doing, or trying to do. He just never thought it through. Brian shrugged. Well, his vanity is what killed him. We all wish we could be young and pretty again, but there are limits. There's a lesson here for all of us to learn about cosmetic procedures. If that's what you call them, they should be performed by experts, not carried out in the kitchen by yourself. The sad thing is that Graham could have used a cream. I'm told that Freshara No. 2 comes highly recommended at only $46 a tube, and you can buy it over the counter. Instead of that, he tried to do it himself on the cheap. You know how much he liked to bargain. I once saw him buy 2 boxes of tampons. They were buy one, get one free. What he did with the tampons is anyone's guess. No, it was his vanity that killed him. Obviously, home-style anal bleaching is not for everyone. I don't think he died from bleaching his anus, but by how he bleached his anus. There's nothing wrong with wanting your anus to be white and pretty, as fresh as a daisy. It was the DIY method he used that doomed him. You're right. Nothing good comes from parking your bare ass in a bowl of bleach. They say he jumped up so high that the ceiling fan knocked him in the head. That's enough to give anyone a heart attack. Brian struggled with his cufflinks. Damn these things. Even after all that, Graham landed back in the bowl of bleach. His cleaning lady found him 3 days later. I remember her knocking on our door and screaming. She was in a terrible state. Stéphane brushed his hair and examined himself in the bathroom mirror. I remember. She was as white as a ghost. Probably whiter than Graham's anus. Now, Stéphane, let's see if we can get through this funeral without incident. The last one, for your sister, Bridget, the nun, was a disaster. You made a complete fool of yourself at the graveside, screaming about crucifying mallards. He's probably cleaning toilets there now, that vicar. He's gone back to the Vatican. Either that, or he's bleaching a cardinal's rectum. Even though it wasn't his fault. It was you who became unhinged and threw a hissy fit. Stéphane fell silent. He didn't see the point in dragging up the past. Not his past, anyway. Of course, everybody else's past was fair game. Thank you.